Oh, Chris, it's a sad. Music industry, it's a sad day.
It is. It is a sad day.
Charlie Watts, one of the members of the Rolling Stones, died at age 80. I didn't think it was like when Dusty Hill died. He'd gone to hospital. And then 4 days later, same with Charlie. He was cancelling the Rolling Stones' imminent tour of America.
Yep.
And went to hospital. And I thought, when 80-year-olds just go to hospital, it just doesn't augur well for anybody. But, I think one of the greatest all-time drummers.
Well, I'm not a Rolling Stones
You can be honest here, Chris.
fan.
You can be honest here, Chris. This is a safe space.
Yes, okay? I know it is.
No one is going to persecute you yet.
I know.
Out of our hundreds of listeners, and thank you to everyone who's listening, and for comments, and
subscribers,
and
followers, thank you.
For followers.
We do read every comment.
Yes, we do, and Chris answers. By the time I get to watch it, Chris has already answered.
Yes.
And generally says something generic like, thanks for subscribing.
Welcome back to our show.
Welcome back to the show.
Episode 4.
Is this episode 4?
Hmm.
Wow. So now we're in the quadrilogy side of things.
Yep.
We're now entering the Fast and Furious territory. No, we're probably Police Academy.
Police Academy.
Yeah, we're probably more in Police Academy at the moment.
Yep.
We're just 4. There was 4 of them, and you sort of go, I can't believe they made 4.
Did they make 4?
No, they made 6.
Made 6, yeah. Mm-hmm. I thought they made more than 4.
Yeah, they made 6. They're up to 9. How
many Star Wars are there? Too many.
9. Oh, it's too bloody many of them.
Yeah.
But there's 9 Star Wars, or 9 Fast and Furious movies.
Is that including Hobbs?
Yeah, I think if you include, that's 10.
Right, okay.
If you include Hobbs and Shaw. But the James Bond, once you hit James Bond numbers, but I also like to think, once you hit Elvis numbers.
Right, okay.
Once you hit Elvis numbers, he made 33 films.
Did he really?
Yes.
Wow.
In a very short period of time, from about 1960 to 1968, he made 33 films.
Wow. And how many should he have made?
Well, that's the thing. I can't honestly say I've seen an Elvis movie.
No, I don't think I have either, to be honest.
I've seen The End of Blue Hawaii, but people love them. And it's one of those things, like the Elvis fans love them, and they will say to you, Viva Las Vegas is his best movie with Anne Margaret. That would have been good, actually, Anne Margaret back in the 60s.
Now you're showing your age.
I am, aren't I?
Thanks, everybody, for watching, listening to us, and making comments and subscribing. And,
good
feedback we've been getting.
I know it's a little late because Charlie Watts probably died nearly 2 weeks ago now, but as you can tell, podcasts are not live. We do pre-record them, and we pre-recorded our last episode, and then Charlie Watts died the next day.
That's right.
And we're not like one of the classic rock radio stations who can sit there and go, oh, quick, put together, which they do. They put together the Charlie Watts special, and we'll just play nothing but Rolling Stones songs all day.
Yeah.
No, we're just going to devote a bit of time to Charlie today, because I think he deserved it.
Well, like I said before, when we first started today's show, I'm not a huge Rolling Stones fan, but when I heard he passed away, I started looking into why everyone was talking about him being a great drummer and what he brought to the Rolling Stones. Mm-hmm. And I was listening to one fellow called Rick Beato.
Yep, Rick Beato.
Yep. And he's a producer. He has his own podcast, and I'll listen to his tribute to Charlie, and listening to a few songs of Rolling Stones, and the way he was talking about the drum beat and what they were doing, I can see why people know why he's such a great drummer.
He was always the little bit behind the beat.
Yeah.
It gives the music a little bit of swing, and it makes you move to it.
Yeah.
It really does. I find if I'm listening to a Rolling Stones song, I'm a big Rolling Stones fan. Mm-hmm. I love them. I've got a chunk of their albums. I love the Rolling Stones. And one of the things that I liked was Charlie's drumming.
Yeah.
It was this solid metronomic beat. There was no flash or fill to it, but he always did what needed to be done. Now, there's plenty of drummers out there that can do such a thing, but Charlie just had this, just this thing. It came from his love of jazz music.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, and I think jazz drummers do add a little bit of swing to two rock and roll bands.
Yep, that makes sense.
You know, a lot of rock and roll drummers hit hard, pound hard. There's a lot that are classically trained and everything like that. I mean, some of them can barely, like Ringo's drumming was so soft and light almost, but it worked for the Beatles.
Absolutely.
I think it could have overwhelmed them. But then you look at John Bonham's drumming for Led Zeppelin, and he was another one, beat behind the beat.
Yeah.
There's almost this laziness to it, but it makes you move. It makes, you know, a drum beat's always going to make you groove in some way, but there's something about the way Bonham was just that little bit behind the beat, that little bit of, and he hit harder than most drummers ever, I think.
That's what he's known for, really, too.
Sorry?
He was known for
Well, he had
hitting so hard.
He used to have those big, enormous drumsticks and
Yeah.
everything like that. So Charlie was just always like that. And it's like, I know one of the most maligned Rolling Stones songs is Emotional Rescue.
Right.
But I just love the way it starts with that little... And I love the way it just starts with Charlie's just a tiny fill, and away it goes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he doesn't do... I mean, one of the most amazing drum fills ever is in the end of the second verse of Fat Bottom Girls. Roger Taylor hits every tom in his kit, you know. And I think many drummers have tried and many drummers have failed to do that. Charlie never felt the need to do that. But he was integral to that whole sound of the Stones.
Yeah.
I think there's that Rolling Stones concert movie that came out in 2008, the one Martin Scorsese directed, Shine a Light.
Right.
And there's this wonderful moment when they're setting up for the show. Because the first half hour of it is kind of this setting up, because they're at the Beacon Theatre in New York and all that sort of stuff. And the first half hour is going through setting up the stage, and where Martin's going to put these enormous IMAX cameras.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they filmed it in IMAX. And where was he going to put them, and where was it all going to go together? Because for Martin to make a film, he needed the set list so he could construct shots.
Right.
And the Rolling Stone, well, Mick does the set list for the Rolling Stones.
Yep.
Mick is the one who puts it together every night, and he's notorious for like leaving it till just before they go on stage. That's why the Stones, when they tour, they rehearse at least 200 songs.
Wow.
Because they go back and they have to do the hits. They know the hits they have to do, but they know that there's also the secondary hits, the ones that weren't quite hits, but audiences loved them.
Mm-hmm.
And then they know that there's people in the audience who are the diehard fans who like the album cuts, the deep album cuts. You know, if they play something and a couple of people in the crowd are going to go, oh, they play Dead Flowers, yes, you know, and they're known for that. And Mick would construct these set lists.
Okay.
So they're doing all that. And there's a bit where Keith is asking the director of photography to get Charlie's bass drum. Because most bass, you've got the hole in the front so that sound can come out. You know, the compression can go out. And Charlie hits it with his pedal. And Keith uses Charlie's drum as his companion for his rhythm playing.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah.
So that's how integral he is.
Yeah.
Like he would say, can you get that on shot? Because I use that. If I feel I'm getting a bit, I will always look and see what Charlie's bass pedal is doing, and it keeps me in the song. It keeps me going.
I actually watched a little bit of Keith the other day talk about Charlie Watts, and they've been playing together for years and years and years, and know each other so well. But Keith said sometimes, and he kept laughing when he was saying this, he would do a few rhythms and then go off track a little bit, just to put it on Charlie.
Yeah.
But Charlie always would just like laugh and then go back to it and put it back onto Keith.
Yeah.
And as musicians, to make the stage, you know, they're a lot. To make people fun for himself, they just kind of put each other out and try to catch him out.
Yeah.
But you could never catch Charlie out, but he would just put it back onto the beat and put Keith out, try to, you know.
That tells you something about the level of musicianship, you know, like, because Keith's pretty amazing, and I'm going to try and put Charlie out. No.
You try to put Keith out.
He'd try and put Keith out. No.
But they just have a quick look at each other and smile and go, "Oh, I got you. Oh, no, I know what you did." That's what. Yeah, it's pretty good to have that kind of camaraderie on on stage with your fellow bandmates.
Oh, for sure. And one thing about Charlie too, apart from the drumming, was his immaculate dressing.
Yeah.
Like on stage, he wore a t-shirt and jeans,
Yep.
but off stage, he wore these Savile Row suits, these three-piece suits. He was always impeccably dressed.
Yep.
And there's been a lot of tributes online, and a nice one I read was Nick Cave wrote. Someone asked him, and he answered, "What did you think of Charlie Watts?" Or did you have anything to want to say? And Nick said he was actually at Heathrow Airport to pick up his wife.
Yeah.
And Nick was wearing this terrible tracksuit because he'd just been to the gym. He thought he'd give the gym a go, and he just bought this first tracksuit he saw, and it was terrible. And he said he was at the urinal, and as he was walking out of the toilet, Charlie Watts was walking to him, dressed impeccably in the suit.
Wow.
And Nick said they walked past and just sort of nodded hello at each other. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
But he said he thought to himself, there goes a great drummer. And that's where he felt when Charlie went. But one of my favourite stories about Charlie with the suit, I don't know if you heard this one. This has been said a lot. This is how I heard it to be. Whether this is true or apocryphal but I think it's a great rock and roll story, is apparently Mick was out. Oh, they were on tour, and Mick was out partying, as was his wont, and it was about 4 o'clock in the morning, and he wanted to continue having the party. He wanted to keep going. And I think he was at the bar. He had Mick always had people with him.
Yeah.
And he wanted to continue, and he said he knew Charlie was up. He said, let's get Charlie down here. So apparently he rang Charlie's room. Nick's high or drunk or whatever. And he goes, where's my fucking drummer? I want my fucking drummer down here. Where is he? And apparently Charlie hung up, got up, put on the suit, went down to the bar, punched Mick in the face, and said, I'm not your fucking drummer, you're my fucking singer. And got up and walked away. And I would love to believe that is true.
That'd be nice. That'd be good. That's funny.
So valet Charlie Watts.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. I don't know the guy. I don't know his music, but what I've heard in the last
I think
few weeks.
Yeah, I think you should,
definitely credit.
Just grab a Rolling Stones best of. There's a few of them out there. There's some good ones. I think 40 Licks was one of the best ones. Just start there. But the albums, when the people put the best of albums, and Exile on Main Street gets up there, and Sticky Fingers, Exile on Main Street, incredible record.
Yeah.
Because it's just such a rock and roll record. It just sounds like a band just together, just punching out music. And
I just noticed from what I heard so far in the last few weeks that he's definitely one of those drummers who less is more.
Yeah.
When it comes to drumming, like you can have the biggest kit in the world and play every cymbal and tom and whatever you like, but when it comes to someone like Charlie Watts, and I guess same with Ringo, they play a very simple beat and a very simple drum kit, but it works really well, and they're very, very good at what they do.
There's probably some point when they're probably in the practice room.
Yeah.
That they probably went drum solo, and Charlie probably dropped the drumsticks and said, "I'm not doing a drum solo."
No.
Do you like drum solos?
There's not many I do like. There is a couple.
It's a weird thing, isn't it? The drum solo.
It is.
It's not like the guitar. I mean, yeah. Do the drummers hit it as hard as they want, or?
I've seen a few. Alex Van Halen did one on Live Without a Net, which was pretty good. But again, how long can you listen to a drum solo for? I guess.
Yeah.
I do like the one that Eric Carr did, the drummer from Kiss.
Yeah, which one was that?
He did
Carr,
one.
That's right.
He did one that was actually quite amazing. He's passed away now, obviously. But
died the same day as Freddie Mercury.
Oh, did he?
Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Yeah.
There you go.
Same November 25th, 1991.
Right, there you go. Yeah, so he was a drummer in Kiss, and that solo, I don't know if it was recorded on purpose or accidentally left on and they recorded it.
Oh, the Car Jam 91.
Yeah, amazing drum solo.
Yes, that's right. I wonder I was trying to remember what it was called, yeah.
Right, and then Godsmack, they do a drum solo because Sully Erna, the lead singer of Godsmack, he was a drummer.
Oh, okay.
And he started Godsmack and became the lead singer and rhythm guitar player. And he got a new drummer, I can't remember his name right now, and they do a a drum solo where they bring out another drum kit and they duel.
Like
Oh.
Phil Collins used to do.
Oh, did he do that too, did he?
Yeah, Phil, yeah.
Okay.
And there's an amazing drummer. It's Phil
Yeah,
Collins.
he is
Yeah,
too, yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, on your thing, pointing out for Phil Collins, one thing I always like to point out with Phil's drumming is doesn't use the cymbals.
Oh, really?
He's all
Toms.
toms and beats and drums and stuff like that.
Oh, there you go.
I thought that was interesting.
I
You
never
really
knew
listen
that.
to Phil's drumming. It's very little cymbal work.
Oh, there you
A
go.
lot of metal drummers will use the cymbal.
Oh,
Please
absolutely.
continue, Chris. I have interrupted you about.
Oh, no, that's all right. But yeah,
Yeah.
those drum solos are the ones I think I like the most. Other than that, yeah, I'm not
It's
into
one
it
of
that
those
much.
weird things. You see the drum solo happening at a concert, and you think, okay,
Time for a break.
is it time for a break for me? I'm not one of those guys. I'm not one of those people. You know, do you leave a concert like, oh, here's the big ballad, time to go to the bar?
No, I normally watch everything I can see.
I try to stay.
Yeah, I might leave a little bit early to get home quicker if I'm working the next day.
Well, yeah, or you want to beat the traffic.
Beat
Because,
traffic, yeah.
I mean, here where we go, the Brisbane Entertainment Centre,
Oh,
it's got this car park that seems like it's only got 2 exits.
yeah, one in, one out.
One
so,
in, one out or something. And
so once you're in, you
I
can't.
remember I went and saw Roger Waters, and it took me 90 minutes just to get out of the car park.
Yeah,
You know, that to me is like, nah. And that's
Yeah.
why I leave early now too.
yeah, I'll leave a little bit earlier sometimes, miss the 2 songs or so. I'll make sure I listen to the songs I want to listen to.
Yeah.
That I've picked them, like they're my favourites. If I've played them and I've heard them, okay, time to go.
See, that's the thing now with going to shows, is set lists are now posted online.
Yeah, yeah.
See, back in the day, you
had no idea.
You had no idea what a
Lucky
band
dip.
was going to do, and were they going to do a surprise encore? Were they going to do a song that they haven't done for a long time? Nowadays, you can check out the set list, and because they have to rehearse these shows, generally the encore is the same songs.
Yep.
So you can kind of go, righto, I've heard the encore, and every time I've gone to them, I've seen them do those songs.
Yeah.
I can go now.
I can go now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Metallica do that quite a lot too, actually. They have the same last few songs,
They do, yeah.
but they're the same songs they play in nearly every concert over time. So if you've seen them before, you don't need to see them again. And that's when you go, traffic, let's get out of here.
Hey, you know, Kiss finished their shows with Rock and Roll All Night. Bet you didn't know that, huh?
No.
No, that's what they do.
All right. And you stay for that, do you?
Not anymore.
No.
I've seen them a few times, and I think the last one I didn't. I didn't stay for Rock and Roll All Night. I was like, I know it's spectacular.
Yeah.
I know they literally just blow up the stage,
Yeah.
but they spend the whole show blowing up the
They
stage.
do. They actually, they're very, very visual like that.
Yeah.
It shows our age.
Oh, I know.
Gotta get the traffic.
I know. It's one of the comments was, I love the way Dan showed his age 21 years ago.
Yeah.
I did. I just got to the thing where I just go, oh, it's all right. I've seen it now.
Well, that's what I did years ago when I moved to London. I went and saw concerts, every concert I could possibly see who I've never seen before. And now they play, I'm like, no, I don't need to see them again. I've seen them once, I've seen them twice, that's it.
Yeah, it's funny that it's like I saw Tool 20 years ago,
Right.
and I've always wanted to see them again, but I've never gotten a chance because the concerts always sold out really quickly.
Yep.
And I just kind of went, oh, I missed them again.
All right.
Now, I've seen them a heap of times on YouTube videos, and I know what to expect, but there's a part of me when the concert tickets do go on sale, like I just kind of go, nah.
Yeah. Do I want to sit here and try to get a ticket?
Yeah.
Tool only played a few years ago here.
Early last year,
I
just
was- I
before the
went to
whole pandemic. Oh, did you?
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever seen Tool.
What'd you think?
I didn't think much of it, to be honest.
Oh, really?
I was sitting up the side, kind of like to the side of the stage.
Yeah.
And
You went, where's the singer?
yeah, I was
That's their
watching him.
thing.
It was very dark,
Yes.
and he would walk off the front of the stage to the side and sing. But I still think sometimes I saw him singing without a microphone in front of his mouth.
Okay.
So kind of like, what's going on here? He's in the dark. He's standing there singing away. No lights on him, and I could just make out that he was there with the microphone in his hand. And
Are
sometimes
you accusing Tool of playing to a
microphone-
track?
I feel like he did.
Ooh.
I feel like some of the songs he sang.
Even Vince Neil doesn't sing to a track.
No, and I'll give him credit for that because he should.
He actually mumbles. He actually
He mumbles very
does it
well.
in tune. He does it in tune though. I'll
know.
give him that.
I know.
I actually saw some footage of him still doing a solo thing, playing to this. I love that Motley Crue can play to 10,000 people.
Yeah.
But if Vince Neil comes out solo, he fills a kind of a room as big as the one we're in right now. And you can almost hear the people talking between the songs.
Yeah.
Because
So why do you think? How do you know he's always stands in the dark?
I've seen him before.
That's what he just does.
That's what he does. That's his thing. He stands.
It's a very weird thing to do.
Well, it is. It's the interesting thing. I think it's the music does the talking and the visuals, and they're not a band like he used to stand at the front. But as the band went on, the drummer. That's what got me. The drum kit's right at the front of the stage.
Yep.
So is the bass player and the drummer, and he's like at the back, behind a screen sometimes,
Yep.
with images on him, and he stands with his side to the audience. You get this side profile of Maynard Keenan all the time. There's no engagement with the audience
No.
until the very end of the show, when he comes out and just says a brief thank you and take these feelings you have and take them with you out into the world and do something positive.
Yep.
That's what I saw. The show.
Thanks
I
for
saw.
the cash.
Yeah, it's a long. That's.
But yeah, no, I felt like he was, sometimes the microphone was down and he was still singing. So I was like, this is a bit weird.
Oh, Chris, controversy. I wasn't starting this-
Conspiracy.
I didn't want to start this podcast to be controversial, but
We didn't. We started on Charlie Watts.
no, but the whole podcast itself. But now we've turned into controversy corner here.
Well, I've got to be honest. That's the way how I felt from watching Tool.
Okay, then. Is there any band that you want to see that you've never seen, or if they came back and toured? This is the thing. I feel I've seen nearly everybody I want to see,
Yeah.
and the Rolling Stones is one band I never saw live.
Oh, okay.
Never saw them live. Once again, sales sell out. Tickets are
Yeah.
expensive. I didn't have the cash to buy a ticket. Never got to see them. But I have this thing. Charlie's 80.
Mhm.
So the other guys are pushing to the 80
Mark.
mark now. How effective is it to see a band pushing 80 in a show?
How old is other guys in Iron Maiden?
They're in their 60s now. I reckon they'd be pushing 70, some of them.
Yeah.
Because they were in their early 20s when their first album came out in 1980.
Was their first album? I thought it was 75.
No, 1980. See, they were part of the Nawabum, the new wave of British heavy metal.
Right.
Yeah, so all that 1980, all those albums came out in 1980. Iron Maiden's first album, Motorhead's Ace of Spades came out. I think it was a Man of War album came out, and Def Leppard's first album, On Through the Night. They were all part of this thing they called Nawabum, the new wave of British heavy metal, which went on
Judas Priest.
Judas Priest, that's right. British Steel came out in 1980. And probably to an extent, Ozzy Osbourne's Blizzard of Oz, even though he was well and truly living in America.
Yeah.
He was probably lumped into the Nawabum because that first Blizzard of Oz album was a heavy metal record as such. Sabbath never sold themselves as a heavy metal band. No. But that first album catered directly to the heavy metal market.
Yeah.
And those albums went to America, and just the American kids just went kind of woohoo.
All the Copenhagen kids.
Hey,
Or the Copenhagen kid.
who's the Copenhagen kid?
Lars.
Oh, Lars.
He's the one that brought it over to America and met all
That's
his
right.
friends.
Met all his friends.
Who were all like into the same kind of thing, Diamond Head and all that kind of
Yeah,
thing.
that's right. The Diamond
knew
Head
it
were
all.
another one.
Yeah,
They were all part of that thing. So there was back onto Iron Maiden. Yeah, so that came out. So they were all kids. All these guys too, except for Lemmy from Motorhead, who was probably the old. But even then, he would have been in his late 20s.
Yeah.
He would not have been that old, but he was probably the old man
Yeah.
at the time. And that's the thing. By the time rock stars were hitting 30, oh, you're the old man.
Yeah.
Remember the Rolling Stones came out with Steel Wheels in '89. Everyone said, "Oh, steel wheelchairs." Oh, the steel wheelchairs tour. They're old. They're in their 40s. And now we're still going to see the rock bands in their 80s. So what were you going to say about Iron Maiden?
They listen to them sing. Listen to Bruce sing.
I know.
And he's in his late 60s, whatever he is, and his voice is just as good as it probably was when he first started. Amazing singer still to this day.
Yes, true,
and that's
true.
the reason why these guys still can play, because they can all perform well.
Yeah, well,
including the Rolling Stones.
yeah, that's true. They all can
Paul
still
McCartney,
play.
you know, all these guys
Paul
can still
McCartney
play.
can still play and still perform.
Bruce Springsteen.
Springsteen.
They're
Just
all very, very good at their stage.
oh,
Where years ago, you never saw that. They're kind of like, okay, we're retired now.
people did
But they
retire.
keep going.
That's why bands don't break up anymore.
Hmm.
Who breaks up?
No one.
Powderfinger.
That's all right.
They'll be back.
Hope not. Savage Garden.
All right, here we go.
They broke up.
Here we go. Are you not that much of a Powderfinger fan?
No.
To me, they were just a band.
You don't like
I like them enough.
Yeah.
The songs are catchy and everything. I just never understood the love for them.
Yeah, me either.
I never got it.
No, me either.
That was one of those bands, like the Chili Peppers in a way, but I don't dislike them as much as I dislike the Chili Peppers. But Powderfinger, I never got when they said they were breaking up, and all these people lined up to get tickets for the farewell performance. And I said I worked in commercial radio, and I've had people say, "Oh, remember when we were Powderfinger, the final concert, and all that sort." I'm thinking they were just a band.
Yeah.
Nothing
special.
They were just a band, But bands did break up for whatever reasons.
Yeah.
But everyone gets back together because it's a
Nothing
long
else to do.
life. There's nothing else to do,
No.
and it's out there, and the promoters say, "Do you know there's an audience still out there for you?"
Yeah.
I mean, God, Smash Mouth are doing Reformation tours, and
Oh, really?
God,
Well, there you go.
Smash Mouth. People go, "Wow, Smash Mouth," and I think, geez, I missed that boat.
Yeah.
I'm glad I missed that boat.
It's funny because I drive a truck in the mornings, most mornings for a living now, my job, and I listen to the radio a lot. And I've noticed that certain songs from the 80s and 90s are still being played every day. Like,
Yep.
there's always the new top 40, but there's certain songs that come on the radio, and it's not just one channel. I swap channels all the time,
Yeah.
stations. Proclaimers.
Now, you listen to this on pop stations or on the classic rock stations?
Oh, I listen to everything.
But you're hearing things like that on... Because the
Yeah.
pop stations that used to just predominantly play the current pop hits, they used to CHR, current hits
Right.
radio.
Right.
They're now... Because their audience has gotten older.
Yeah. Yeah.
So not everybody grew up in the 80s.
No.
And some people grew up in the 90s, and that is now their nostalgic music,
Yeah.
so to speak.
And I hear it every day.
Yeah,
Like Proclaimers, I can't believe is on the radio. Every day I hear it at least once, the 500 Miles song.
somewhere.
Obviously you still got Madonna. You hear her songs all the time. It's just, I'm amazed. It's like for me, driving my first car back in Tasmania, driving around here in the radio,
Yeah,
and here I am driving a truck in the mornings, listening to the radio, and it's like, well, nothing's really changed.
because they called it. But yeah, I listened to the rock stations when I was a kid,
Yeah.
and it was just a rock station.
Yeah.
They were because rock music was the predominant selling music. All your biggest selling bands and acts were and then you had your pop acts too. Especially and the 80s, it's hard. You'll never get an era like the 80s
No.
again.
No.
I think we should almost devote a whole episode to the 80s because it was such a... Like, look at 1984. I remember my brother and I had this conversation. 1984, the biggest artists in the world were Bruce Springsteen, Madonna, Culture Club, Duran Duran, Van Halen.
In excess.
Oh, not so much in the world, but in Australia, In Excess
Yep.
were probably the biggest act in Australia at the time.
Yep.
Now, Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Now, that used to get played on the radio because
Yep.
they were your big hits. Nowadays, everything is so in its place that you would
Yes.
never hear those sorts of artists in a playlist on a radio station
No.
again. Bruce Springsteen's got to be played with another rock song or something like that. Madonna is purely for the pop audience, but back in the 80s, that was your top 10.
Yeah.
They were your biggest selling artists
Yeah.
in the 80s.
Dire Straits, I hear a lot.
Oh, now there's a band, Dire Straits. Okay. There's a band that I still find the biggest anomaly in rock music.
Why?
Right, okay. We're kind of in the 80s now.
We have.
Yeah. Dire Straits, right? Back in the early 80s, they came out. And when you really look at it, Mark Knopfler is this boring bloke standing in front of a band who sings like this, sings like he's from Northern England, and then the man, he steps right up to the microphone. Hell of a guitar player, though. Can't
Amazing.
fault that. Yeah, finger picking.
Songwriter, guitar
And a
player.
songwriter,
Brilliant.
too. And I did like Dire Straits, the early stuff, because I liked long songs, and he used to write these really long, epic songs.
Yeah.
And then when and I remember by the time Brothers in Arms came out in 1985, I was in final year of high school, year 12, and everyone was excited about the new Dire Straits album coming out.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, the new Dire Straits, because I was like, yeah, Dire Straits. And I remember I bought Brothers in Arms, and I put it on, I listened to it, and I'm like, where is it?
Oh, really?
Where's the guitar solos?
Yeah.
Where's the big epic songs? It's a bit boring. And I still will stand to this day and say the album's a bit boring, except for the last song, Brothers in Arms, which is beautiful and great guitar playing. But the production, and then it started the whole CD rage. It spent 34 weeks at #1 in the Australian charts.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's how big Brothers in Arms is. It was dad rock. It was the type of stuff your dad listened to and go, hey, guys, you're finally listening to some good music. Because remember, your parents, probably like mine, rock and roll was a kid's thing.
Yeah, my parents didn't listen to rock and roll.
No, my parents didn't either.
My parents listened to Christian music.
That's weird.
All that
What
Christian.
type of, did you grow up on Christian rock?
Yeah. Oh, no, I wouldn't say Christian rock.
So Striper?
I did have a Striper album.
They
one
weren't
of the very
actually too,
first.
they weren't too bad,
And
actually.
they were great musicians.
They were really, and that guy has a unique voice.
Yeah,
And
Michael Sweet.
Michael Sweet, that's
Yeah,
it.
no. I listened to Striper. I had one of their albums, but I grew up on Don Francisco, Second Chapter of Acts, David Meese, Michael W. Smith,
Petra?
Petra, another one. You know one.
No one?
My first concert was Don Francisco
Wow.
in Launceston at the Velodrome, I think it was. No, it might not have been the
Bet you,
Velodrome.
bet you a couple of thousand people showed up too.
Amy Grant,
She was huge.
but she wasn't huge as a Christian singer. Well, she was, but she
She crossed over into pop.
crossed over and had a song. I can't remember what it was called.
I can't either, but she crossed over
She
into
crossed
pop.
over and had a number. I think it might have been #1 for a
Something
while.
like that. She sort of was kind
top
of
10.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I remember hearing her. She was always this Christian singer.
Yeah,
But you
yeah.
look at all these bands that were that are. You too are a Christian band.
You too?
Yeah.
Really?
Totally Christian band. Nickelback started out as a Christian band.
Creed?
Creed were a Christian band.
Because yeah,
Yep.
Scott's.
Scott Stapp's Born Again
Yep.
Christian.
Yep.
Evanescence started out as a Christian band.
Did they really?
They certainly
There
did.
you go.
And a lot of them did start in Christian music.
Mm.
So you grew up listening to Christian music.
Yeah, yeah.
See, I didn't. I that's where I think rock and roll was. It was a beautiful thing of discovery for me.
Yep.
It was because I think it was the time. I'll stand by this. It was the time. Like I remember a friend of mine, his parents had a really huge record collection, and he said you could really tell the moment they stopped buying records is when they started having kids.
Right.
Buying records was a luxury.
Yep.
And I remember watching TV and seeing that this album's out, Mum. Can I have that? It's only $5. Nowadays you just go $5.
Yeah, yeah.
I'll buy it. But back then, my parents, when your dad's only bringing home $150 a week, because that was kind of the average price, and they were buying a house and paying $60 a week of that on mortgage, I'd say.
Yeah.
$5 was a luxury
Mm.
to buy a record. So music became a luxury. Now it's become a necessity.
Yeah.
Everyone's got music.
Yeah.
You got it for free now almost. You just pay your subscription. But even then, when CDs, people say, CDs are expensive. They put them down to $20 or less. But when you look at what people were bringing home, $20 was nothing.
Yeah.
But
when
yeah.
I was buying CDs back in the 90s, it was $40 a CD, $30, $40.
They were really expensive.
And yeah, if you get a double album, it was even.
Oh
more.
no, the CDs were expensive until they did. There was a government thing here in Australia about the importing of CDs that they took away. They took some money away from it. I can't remember the exact details, but it made CDs cheaper.
Yeah.
Because the Australian artists were pushing for it.
Yeah.
They were saying, well, no, please make CDs cheaper so that people will come and buy
Yeah.
my CDs.
I did listen to Christian music when I was growing up, but it wasn't like I didn't know about other things. Like my brother, who was 8 years older than I am, he was in a band, would play in the rubbish room and have his band play. I'd hear Creedence,
Yeah.
and they'll play that kind of music. He'd buy magazines. And I remember one cover was it was next to the bed of his was a cover of a magazine that had "Who's the King of Rock," and it was a picture of Kiss versus Elvis. And I'm like, who are these guys? Why are they dressed up like that?
Yeah.
I heard of Elvis, but I didn't know who Kiss were.
Yeah.
To see that, well, it would have been 6 or 7 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
But to see that, the front of the album and cover of the magazine, and see the guys from Kiss, and I started hearing it, and my sister and I, one of my sisters is 3 years older, we used to have a Kiss fan club, and we'd make little things out of paper.
Oh, did
like
you?
Bookmarks and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, nice.
And we would try to sell it, but no one ever buy it. It was just like something we used to do. But I didn't know who they were. I didn't really listen to much of their music. But as I got older, I understood who they were and got away from the Christian side of music and started listening to the rock and obviously into heavy metal and stuff, which came from my stepbrothers.
All right.
Because
Yeah.
my mother got remarried and we had a house with my brother, 2 stepbrothers who were older than I, lived downstairs, and they played AC/DC, they played Iron Maiden, they played all that kind of thing. So I'll get home from school and the house will be shaking because you hear the big bell from Hell's Bells starting to play.
Oh,
and
sweet.
And it was so loud. And back in those days, the speakers are bigger than that,
Yeah.
And the sound system was huge, and that's what you had in your house, and that's what they had downstairs in their bedroom.
Even having a hi-fi back then was considered a luxury.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, we had one upstairs, but my stepbrothers had one downstairs, which was huge. And the sound would just come from, like, hearing Hell's Bells, like the big bell go off, and all the windows shook in your house.
Oh.
And coming from a Christian background and hearing that was like, what is this?
And lyrically, that
And
song,
then,
if God's on the left, then I'm sticking to the right.
yeah, and then you got something
wow.
like 666 being played by a number of by Iron Maiden.
That's a rebellion happening downstairs.
And that's where I was like, this is great. Give me more.
My parents legitimately thought Kiss was a dangerous band.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. They thought, they did not understand the one wore a demon and called himself the demon and had the demon makeup. And they spit blood and spit fire. There's something not right about this. Now, it's just entertainment.
Yeah.
It's just entertainment on a grand scale.
Yeah.
But it scared parents. Parents, do you get scared by music now?
No.
No. And no artists are really that scary anymore.
I remember I grew up in the time when, when we went to school and had people turn up to talk to us about backmasking.
Oh, did you? Oh, you must have gone to a Christian school.
I did.
Of course.
So we'd sit down and talk about album covers and what's bad about them and about the songs and what backmasking would be in these songs. And I always heard it and I understood what they were trying to say. I didn't always believe it, but I knew in myself, just because I listened to this music, didn't mean I was going to become a Satanist, you know what I mean? Or get into satanic worship. I just wouldn't do that. I'm not that silly. So, but the music was great, and the art on the front covers was just like, wow, Coming from second chapter of Acts or David Meese or Petra, to see Eddie on the front of an Iron Maiden album was just amazing.
I'll tell you what, we're running out of time here, Chris.
Are we?
And you have just opened up the Pandora's box. Because this is a subject I want to talk about. And I think we'll do this. We'll make this a 2-part episode.
Okay.
You'll have to wait how this goes.
Okay.
We'll come back next week. I want to talk about the Satanic Panic. Because this is very real. It was very real.
Yeah.
And it started something in music. And you're kind of right there at the forefront. I was kind of a little back from it. And I really want to delve deeper into the whole Satanic Panic. So I'll tell you, if you want to get into the Satanic Panic, you got to come back next week because I tell you, this is going to be good. I'm going to really look forward to it. So, look, Valet Charlie Watts, if there's a rock and roll heaven, I hope you're there.
Yep.
But if all the good rock and rollers have gone to hell, well, what a fun time that will be. We're going to be back. Please leave comments. Please leave us some subjects you want us to talk about too, because we're very open, and we just want to talk about it. But yeah, we'll come back next week.
Talk about anything. We'll research whatever we can.
Yeah.
We'll look into any band, any style of music.
Yep. We're not just into heavy metal. It's just that's our entry point. Okay,
Yeah.
Understand, this is the entry point.
We haven't talked about metal much today.
No, we have not, but we're going to next. But this is the entry point. We're going to burrow deep, and get into stuff. And that's what we're about. So, okay, thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening.
And watching on YouTube. If you watch on YouTube.
Please subscribe.
Please subscribe,
And,
like, Twitter, the Music Podcast, the Music Bar
Instagram.
Podcast. That's what we call. Oh yeah, we're the Music Bar Podcast. Maybe I should say the name of the show next time.
Yeah, maybe. I was wondering when you were going to say that. That's all right.
Until next week.
See you later.
Take care.
Thank
See
you.
ya.
Bye.